Welcome back to another strange and mysterious whoop-dee podcast. Of course, I'm one of your hosts. G, introduce yourself, sir.
599 here and fucking ready to go. It's been a while.
It's been a little while, but today we got a good
Been a
show.
minute.
Today we got Three Eye Atlas. I know there's
Yeah.
been a lot of talk. There haven't been
Yep.
too many photos that, explain exactly what it is. So I feel
That
like
Hubble, that Hubble one was cool. Did you see it?
I did see that one. So today
Yeah.
we're gonna watch a little video and see what they're talking about. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's see. Share sound.
Yeah, that Hubble shot was interesting.
All right.
3I Atlas, the interstellar object, recently passed very close to the Sun, and what it did during this time has completely stunned astronomers. Scientists have once again detected strange activity, and most importantly, 3I Atlas has finally shown signs of non-gravitational acceleration. But there's a problem.
Huh.
One of the new images comes from NASA's Punch satellite constellation, captured on 27th October 2025, when 3I Atlas was near its closest point to the Sun, known as perihelion. Other observatories, including STEREO or Solar Terrestrial Relations Observatory and the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, have also shared new images that left scientists stunned. According to the data, just before reaching perihelion, 3I Atlas suddenly began brightening at an unexpected rate. Its brightness increased roughly in proportion to the Sun's distance raised to the power of negative 7.5. In
Huh.
simple terms, as the object got closer to the Sun, it became far brighter than what scientists would normally expect based on its distance alone. Such an extreme brightening has never been observed in any comet within our solar system before. This
Huh.
rapid increase in brightness could mean one of two things. The comet might be releasing large amounts of gas and dust, showing unusually strong activity, or it could have a very unusual chemical composition that reacts intensely to solar heat. Some
FOMO.
scientists pointed out that 3I Atlas had shown this same strange behavior earlier, when it was approaching Mars. Back then, it suddenly became brighter just as it neared the planet. Now, it's doing it again, showing a sharp and unexpected increase in brightness just before passing its closest point
Huh.
to the Sun. Scientists say this repeating pattern is really unusual and puzzling. But wait. The most exciting discovery about 3I Atlas is that scientists have now found clear signs it's not moving exactly as gravity predicts. In simple terms, besides the pull of the Sun's gravity, something else seems to be giving it a tiny but measurable push. This effect is known as non-gravitational acceleration, and it has caught the attention of astronomers
Huh.
around the world.
Well, another strange thing about what they've,
Non-gravitational.
analyzed is
Uh,
that it has a large amount of nickel, but not iron, which is weird because usually within, big meteors or comets, you find both of those compositions together.
yeah,
And this one,
iron.
they
Yep.
don't find any iron in it.
It's like all
So
nickel.
there's a lot of nickel in it. Some
Huh.
speculate, right? If you were going to build like what we build, right? We would put a
Machines
lot
and
of nickel in our spacecrafts,
yeah, the
right?
alloys and
So
stuff. Yep.
that's a speculation. And then this thing is acting strange, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
what did it say? It was non-gravitational. So something is affecting its orbit of the sun
yeah.
right now, but they but they can't attribute it to gravity. Rewind that video just a tad bit there.
Let's see.
Now found clear signs it's not moving exactly as gravity predicts.
Yep.
In simple terms, besides the pull of the sun's gravity, something else seems to be giving it a tiny but measurable push. This effect is known as non-gravitational acceleration, and it
Huh.
has caught the attention of astronomers around the world. According to Davide Farnacchia, a navigation engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, New data shows that when 3I Atlas passed very close to the Sun, it appeared to be accelerating slightly faster than expected. The extra push is extremely small, roughly between 3 times 10 to the minus 14th and 2 times 10 to the minus 10th astronomical units per day squared. Yet
That's actually what happens to me when I get up in the morning. So there's an extra push, right?
Just that
Especially if
extra
I'm-
little push. Yeah,
Right,
you
just a
can't attribute it to gravity. It's just
Nah, it's not to gravity.
it just happens.
it's still large enough to matter in precise orbital calculations. Scientists say the exact cause of this non-gravitational acceleration is still not fully understood. The most likely explanation is outgassing, a process where the sun's heat causes ices trapped inside a comet to vaporize and release gas. These escaping gases act like tiny thrusters, giving the object a small push in the opposite direction. However, researchers are still waiting for direct confirmation of what's really causing the effect. Once 3I Atlas becomes visible again after passing behind the Sun, scientists will be able to measure both the strength and direction of this acceleration more accurately. If it turns out to be stronger than expected, or pointing in a direction that doesn't match the outgassing theory, they may have to consider new possibilities, just as they did earlier with Oumuamua. Harvard professor Avi Loeb also commented that if the outgassing is indeed that strong, it means 3I Atlas is losing mass rapidly. When it becomes visible again and moves closer to Earth, astronomers can test whether the actual mass loss matches what would be expected from outgassing. If it doesn't, that could mean 3I Atlas is using a different mechanism to generate this
It's
mysterious
propulsion, yeah.
push. Perhaps something more unusual, like a thin, spacecraft-like structure that only looks like a natural comet. But the real surprise came when scientists examined new images from space-based solar imagers. Since 3I Atlas is currently hidden from Earth by the Sun, it's being tracked through coronagraphs. It is instruments that block the Sun's glare to observe nearby objects. When researchers analyzed the comet's light through special color filters, they noticed something remarkable. 3I Atlas appeared bluer than the Sun. Well, this doesn't mean the comet looks bright blue to the naked eye. Instead, it means that the light from 3I Atlas contains more blue wavelengths and less red light than sunlight does. In other words, its color balance is shifted toward blue. The authors of the new paper said that the reason for 3I Atlas's rapid brightening, which far exceeds the brightening rate of most Oort cloud comets at similar distances from the Sun, remains unclear. In addition to this, Professor Avi Loeb said, "The appearance of 3I Atlas as bluer than the Sun is very surprising. Dust is expected to redden the scattered sunlight, and the surface of the object is expected to be an order of magnitude colder than the 5,800 degrees Kelvin at the photosphere of the Sun, resulting in it having a redder color than the Sun." But the bluer spectrum raises a big question. Could 3I Atlas be using a power source hotter than the Sun itself?
Interesting.
Avi Loeb has added this strange observation to his list of anomalies linked to this interstellar object.
Yesterday was that this object came closest to the Sun, and it received a huge amount of heat from the Sun. And the latest report indicates that it became extremely bright, much more than expected for familiar comets.
Before disappearing behind the Sun, scientists had already noticed several strange behaviors around 3I Atlas. For a long time during its journey through the solar system, 3I Atlas showed an antitail, a faint stream of dust that appeared to point toward the Sun. But just before it reached perihelion, this antitail suddenly flipped and turned into a normal tail pointing away from the Sun like most comets do. Scientists also observed that the sunlight scattering around the object behaved in a very unusual way. It showed strong negative polarization, a light effect that has never been seen in any comet before. And most surprisingly, the layers of gas molecules surrounding 3I Atlas seem to form a kind of protective shell or envelope, which was completely unexpected. New data suggests that the inner region around the nucleus of this object is mostly dominated by nickel, with very little or almost no iron.
Yeah, remember I said that?
Surprisingly, another layer mixed with the coma appears to be rich in cyanide compounds. And finally, the outer gas envelope is dominated by carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. This means the material close to the surface is very different from what's farther away, something we've never clearly observed before. Such an uneven chemical pattern could hint that the object formed in a very different environment. The best image of this interstellar object was captured by the HiRISE camera on the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. However, NASA hasn't released those images to the public
I
yet,
think that's
reportedly
interesting.
because of the government funding
That's
shutdown.
what
But some scientists believe that NASA might be deliberately keeping the best images of 3I Atlas hidden.
What's NASA potentially hiding about 3I Atlas?
Well, on October 2nd, the 3I Atlas came closest to Mars, within 30 million kilometers, and the HiRISE camera on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter took several images of it. These are the highest resolution images we have. And that was a day after the government shutdown took over NASA, and we haven't gotten the data.
After its recent close flybys, 3I Atlas is now heading toward Jupiter. During this part of its journey, it will come closer to Earth than ever before, giving scientists a perfect opportunity to capture the best and most detailed images of the object. After passing Jupiter, 3I Atlas will continue outward away from the Sun, following a hyperbolic path that will carry it toward the outer edges of our solar system. It originally entered the solar system from the direction of the Sagittarius constellation. Interestingly, the same region of the sky from where the famous and mysterious WOW signal was once detected. After it swings past Jupiter, the object will move through constellations such as Virgo and Leo as it continues its journey back into deep space. That's all for today. Don't forget to check out our new
Wow.
So what do you think?
I think this is one of the most fascinating planetoid space debris stories we've seen in a long time, at least since that one they called it the cigar or whatever.
Unamuma or whatever.
Yeah, Unamuma. But this one has more. Unamuma flew by, scientists looked at it. We all said, oh wow, look, it looks like a cigar or a big piece of shit. It just went on its way. There was a lot of talk for a little while. But this one feels different. I don't know if it's because it's acting in ways so different that anyone, any layman observer with a telescope can see. People are so much more better now with tracking objects in space. I mean, there's even apps on our phones that do it to some degree. That kind of stuff might be harder for people to hide if the governments of Earth were not wanting to share that information, right? So I think that angle of the fact that NASA won't release those photos, I hope it's just related to the shutdown, and they're not trying to be shady, but it gives the story juice.
Yeah.
People like juicy shit. When they dig into a story, they want that juice all over their face.
Yeah, I think that we talk about kind of the perfect storm, right? People suffering right now, they don't have enough money, groceries. Can you imagine being, put with this also about, hey, we have clear photos of this, spacecraft, and there's aliens.
Well, yeah. Oh, by the way, we're not alone in the universe. Let's add to your problems.
Right.
Well, because we've talked about this before. You can be as judgmental as you want to the men in black, all you want. But you have to, if you're an intelligent human being that understands critical thinking and how processes work and has studied history. The people in power, any of the governments around the world, could very well fear something that drastic changing all at once for all humankind in a fucking second.
Yeah.
Because we're delicate creatures, man. And as we've talked about, society's delicate, right? So most people are 4 lost meals away from picking up a bat or a weapon and shooting their way to food.
Yeah.
They've done studies on that. Societies tend to collapse very quickly. Once there's food insecurity, it's like 4 or 5 meals, man. That's not a lot. That's 3, 4 days, right? So you can judge them all you want, but the honest truth is, if we found out tomorrow that there are beings that we have no really ability to deal with that could come down here and do whatever the fuck they wanted to us, whenever the fuck they wanted to us, I think a lot of people would panic, and I would not be surprised if in some circles, maybe it'd be cultural, maybe it'd be ethnic, who knows, but in some circles, society could start to collapse as people just go, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to think we're resilient enough, Gabe, but
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, and who knows what the truth is. Again, when you talk about UFOs, aliens, spacecraft, will it ever come out? They've been giving us little bits and pieces, but until I think an alien or a spacecraft lands on the White House, I don't think people are going to
Well,
believe
that's the funny thing too. People won't believe it. There'll be so many people that refuse to believe it because it doesn't fit into their worldview, right?
Yeah.
It's so like, I mean, you'd literally have to, it'd almost be like Mars attacks. You'd literally have to have aliens in the White House walking around and people with phones for it to
Hmm.
hit people in the face. And
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe people, as they just struggle to keep food on the table, would go, "Oh, aliens are real." Well, I guess that's the reality, and business would just go. I
As
mean, yeah,
normal.
there'd be that's normal. I don't know. I don't
Hey,
know. That
I
that's
have
the
no
thing about
SNAP
societies.
benefits, but me and my homeboy ET, we chilling.
Yeah, well, and ETs would give a lot of people hope, as we've talked about. I think that you would see overnight this cult of ETs, people that are just all about them, right? I'm one of you, like fuck, like immediately you'd have,
Yeah.
dude. I bet you there'd be humans immediately be like, fuck these motherfuckers. No, 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 no. In fact, you want to kill them? Kill them. Let's us do like you'd have all these factions of people trying to use the ET story in whatever they want, as a religion, as a cult, as political power, as just getting their name etched into the history books, pure ego, pure, whatever.
Hmm.
It would be an interesting world, that's for goddamn sure. And I think it might wake up a lot of people that are not awoken to the fact that the universe is much bigger, much grander, much bigger than themselves. And maybe that'd be a good thing.
Well, during the press conference when they had the whistleblowers a couple months back, one of the whistleblowers that worked on Black projects
Mm,
said something under oath, which I thought was so interesting. He said that, some of the crafts were other dimensional,
yeah.
right? So not even just from our dimension, other
Yeah.
dimensions these things are
Yeah.
coming from.
This isn't even just little spacemen, guys. This is where you're okay. Mr. I'm sorry you dropped out of school in 6th grade and you've worked your whole life and you've never read a book in the library ever. Yeah, now you're gonna have to actually understand some things about string theory and
Yeah,
alternate dimensions. And you're asking people to go a long way, dude.
yeah,
That's a
very
that's
quickly.
a that's a big fucking ask, and that's why I think a lot of people will just be like, "No, I'm not going to believe it."
But
And
look at
if
what happened during the Spanish conquest, right? It wasn't it wasn't pretty, it wasn't nice when they brought over the Spanish their ideologies into
yeah,
the Native American. It was destruction, right? Very quickly. And I think humanity will probably follow that same path. right? Aliens. All right, well, infrastructure, right? Gas, oil, electricity. Well, fuck, we don't need to pay for that. These motherfuckers have figured out how to harness, the sun.
Yeah, we just need some of their tech.
Yep. And so that's, I think, what the big reason why they're afraid of the alien agenda or the alien, story coming out publicly, because they're afraid that all of the infrastructure, everything will, collapse. So,
Well, yeah. What happens when energy's free? That's a very interesting
hey, just ask
conversation.
Nikolai Tesla.
Yeah, yeah. You die, right? What happens? What happens if to power a single residence home costs $50 of investment, and it's essentially a little mini nuclear
Run down.
reactor
Yeah, run
that's
home.
super safe. That's super safe. Just runs one house, and all anyone has to do is make this initial investment for a home of say $1,000, and you got a little mini reactor running your entire home for 30 years.
Hmm.
You'd almost, I mean, overnight, everything that has to deal with the power stations and telephone poles and all that shit, it would all just immediately just turn off almost overnight. and all those people would be out of a job, dude.
Now, really quickly, I know I do this every couple of episodes, but again, we've been doing this episode and nothing strange has happened in the background like our one episode,
No,
correct?
nope, not a damn thing.
No lights, no anything like that. So,
In all honesty, though, I will be honest, I haven't been in this room a lot. I
mhm,
have not been in my comic room um doing much I'm not buying much comics, this economy. I used to drop, decent coin on comic books, and as things have gotten more expensive and we're dealing with all this stuff, it becomes it the part of me that's willing to do it becomes less and less. Like I will still do it. I've bought some cool books like from Greece,
oh,
um,
nice.
but they weren't outrageously expensive. It's like the days of dropping a G on a comic book. Those days are over for me, man.
Yeah.
I can't I can't have the luxury. So I'm not doing a whole lot of money or a whole lot of time and spending a lot of money on my comic book stuff. So I haven't been in this room a whole lot.
Hmm.
So if there was activity going on, I probably missed it.
Yeah, but even since like the ones that we've done ever since that one, we
No,
haven't seen that
nope,
same
we
light
have not seen
phenomenon
it.
again, correct?
It was like weird squiggly lights. Yep, correct.
So it's very
And
strange,
I do the same thing every time we have our podcast. I turn this LED light on, I turn all the same amount of lights on. Nothing changes.
hmm.
It'd be different if I was doing it in different rooms and there was changing, right? But I don't. It's the
Yeah,
same
very
exact
strange, right?
setup, same exact setup, same exact everything.
So I don't know. Ghost, you're gonna have
Yeah.
to come back on our podcast. I'm just saying,
Please, yeah, yeah. Move something for me. Make
right?
something fall or move something.
Give me the Powerball numbers. Thank you.
Yes, if we get rich, then I'd give them a whole section of a new mansion to the ghosts. I'd
Right?
just leave it to them. Say,
Hey,
here,
enjoy.
yeah, you guys just enjoy yourself. Throw like a bunch of dolls that they can manipulate or whatever.
Right?
Hey, but maybe in that case you could actually record it, live in the separate part of the house, and just put all kinds of paranormal stuff in there, and just be like, here, like actually like open the space. Be like, this space is a welcoming place for whatever spirits there may be.
Right? All right. Well, that's been our episode. We'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Adios.